Hey, y'all. So I was at the church next door, right? And this lady gave me all this things that, like right after Christmas that I've been giving to all the kids, right? Like stacks of movies and like stuffed animals and like this. There's this little girl I told you about next door, and she, I gave them stuff and gave her this stuffed animal, stuck it outside the door, and knocked on the door, and she opens the door and she sees it and she's like, and grabs the stuffed animal, and her parents are like, whoa, and I stick my head around the door. So anyway, so I'm on out and I'm scrounging for tobacco because I still smoke like maybe 2 cigarettes a day, and I smoke it, well anyways. So I go out, right, and I find this cigarette butt rolling, and somebody's been rolling on paper, right, and I bring it back to the house, and I'm like, because I take tobacco out, and it's part of the Bible. And on the way back home, right, there was this that lady I was telling you about. She said, talking about doing some stuff for the church and paying me as the puppet, for doing puppet shows and stuff like that. And I had to stop, and I came by and I said, you mentioned that, and she goes, well, give us some time. I said, well, I need to interject right now. And I took my hat off and I said, man, I can't be paid for playing with children. God don't bring it to me like that. I do it for free. I coached a team on the East Coast, Takoma Park Recreation Department, all junior league, bunch of kids. That's kind of a cool story. Look, man, I'm in a good mood this morning, so anyway, so I find this rolling paper and it's got that. Where did that go? There it is. The dude was smoking on the Bible, man. Lord said to me, and go to Damascus, and there you will be things which were opposed to you. And since I kind of remember that, but I could find that. I could find the whole thing in my Bible in the back. So anyways, what was I about to tell you a story about? Oh my gosh. Oh, it's a good story. I'd have to rewind the tape that I actually asked myself what I was about to talk about. Oh! Junior league disc golf team for Takoma Park, Maryland. And this is how it started. So, I was working at Bish Thompson's in Bethesda, Maryland. It was a seafood restaurant at the time. I was also working for this other guy, Drew, windows, sidings, doors. He's unbonded, uninsured, and used immigrant laborers, and works in Montgomery County area. So don't hire him because he burnt me bad. We did save this kid's life as he was sliding off the top of but that's another story. I got there first. You would think the owner of the business would want to grab the kid first, but I'm kind of fast like that. Anyway, but so I go every Sunday, and me and my friend Wayne would go. He was like my mentor and all that. He works at Goddard now. So we would go and we go to this field, right? And this is back when my little brother Evan was 11 or 12, and then Adam was just under that, 9, 10. Amy was about 8, and the Takoma Park Recreation Department had all the kids on top of the hill with all the staff, and this was above Takoma Park Middle School. In my book, not the elementary, but the middle school had a field above it, and then it went around there as the basketball, the tennis courts, and dude, I remember it all. It's up here. But anyway, so we're up on this field, and we're just playing catch with frisbee, right? And these kids are all joining in, right? And they're having a good time, and they're just joining in, and we don't mind, right? We think it's a hoop, right? And so we start throwing 2 or 3 of them back and forth, and these kids are like, wow, because we're throwing real far, because Wayne and I can both put something on a frisbee, right? I bet you can still put something on a frisbee. I mean, like, we can both throw over 200, 250 feet with a regular old frisbee, right? A grandmaster. So, after doing this for a couple of Fridays and more kids, I'm like, well, How about I go and ask these, you know, I ask the kids. That's what I'll do first. I ask all the kids first. And if I get over 10 of them, or 15 of them, I'll start a team. And I think that's what I thought in my head. So, while we're all playing, I'm like, hey, kids, come here for a second, come here, you know, because I gotta get loud. I'm like, kids, come here, you know, so all across the field. And so I got a bunch of kids over there in front of me, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to start a team. And any kids who want to be on the team, there's this, where all the kids went down, where the recreation department went down, I said, before everything ends, and when they call you to go in, and I'd already talked to the recreation director and said, hey, I want to ask the kids this. Is it okay if I ask them this, right? And they're like, yeah, we introduced ourselves. I do that. When I come to a field or a place where children are and there's staff and a director, or a staff member of any form around the children, and I'm there near the children, and what happens is you combine Thor and children and you get play. It just happens, all right? It just happens. I can be on the other end of the field, and all of a sudden the kids will be all like, play with me. I'll be like, yeah, let's do it. You know? So I said, all right, kids, all right. Because Ken was his name, right? He had the sandy blonde hair, blue eyes, in his 30s. Well, anyways, he was the head of the recreation department. So I ask all these kids, and I get not 15, but 19 kids sit down, and I'm like, wow, really? I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, kids, I'm going to see what I can do about starting a team. And I went down to the recreation department, and it was kind of cool how Takoma Park ran. All right, all the white city councilor offices and the mayor's office. This is the 70s, you know, was all white people, right? Maybe there was one black person in the mix of the higher politics, but who ran all the paperwork and everything down below was the ladies, all right? And the Afro-American ladies, right? So I come in and I'm like, well, I like to do this and I like to set up it, and how do I go about this? And I just went in to talk, and she goes, well, how much you want to get paid? And I'm like, straight like, what? I don't want to get paid. I'm going to do this for free. And she kind of looked at me, and I said, well, so how do I start? She said, just draw a proposal and come in, and if we approve it, you know, and I said, all right. So I drew up a proposal, and I said, this is a short year. We don't have much time, but what I want to do is teach the kids how to play disc golf, and I'll take them out, and if you can send one of your staff members with me, because that's appropriate, right? Because I'm not a staff member, I'm not approved through the whole staff system, right? But I am attempting to be approved to be a coach by the recreation department, going through the city and going through all the proper channels, right? So, and then I said, then we'll take the kids out to North Calvert, and it'll be $10 to get into the tournament. We'll play a tournament there, and that'll kind of round out the year, okay? Well, here's the cool thing about this, all right? Here's the really cool thing about this, is that any kid could join the team. So all the kids who would never, ever, ever, ever be on a team of any other sort would play on the team, right? And so what happened was, I wound up having like 35 kids, 40 kids all together. Woo! Revolution, hey, I know. Woo! We all want to change the world. Hey, I know. So all these kids, right? So I broke them up into 3 groups, right? you know that you can count me out? Be alright. 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 Woo! So anyway, so we got all these kids, right? I got 3 groups, right? So I got the advanced group, and I can let them go on their own. Now Wayne's oldest son, he joined and he came in, and then I built like a basket for the kids, and my little brothers would be practicing it on that, and they would be in the advanced team. So I just let them. I would say, look, this is how you play. Point at something, everybody choose something. You know, take turns, and it's that simple, right? Everybody take turns, and then you go around and you just choose something and you throw to it, right? Let them go on their own. Intermediate team, I had to go in and help them with their skill on being able to really throw the disc and understand, or frisbee. And then I had the beginning team. Can y'all see that? He down here. And little sister, she down here too, right? These 2 little kids, right? I had like 6 of them on the beginning team, right? But these 2 little kids, I was determined. Determined. That they would not throw the frisbee like that. That she would not throw it like that. That they would throw the frisbee flat. Woo! I was determined. So I'm like, throw it flat, throw it flat. I'm next to this kid going, you can do it, throw it flat, throw it flat. And he's like, bing, bing, bing. And I'm like, you can do this, you can do this, right? Because I got this way about just like, you know, making it so the kid doesn't feel embarrassed, right? Just being like, look, we can do this, we can do this, we can do it. And by Jove, and then we took him to the tournament, right? Now here's this was really cool. So, so I got one guy who had all these discs, and I was supposed to pay him, but he wound up kind of like donating really the discs to the team, which was like really cool of him, you know. I paid him some, but I didn't finish. Well, anyways, so we had all these discs, right? So I had enough for all the team. And then when they paid $10 a head, when you have a bunch of kids come out, excuse me. I had to run all the way to dirt. I don't spit on pavement. So anyways, so I've got enough frisbees for all the kids, right? So when you take kids out on a tournament or something, every single kid has to get something, okay? Every kid has to get something. So, and then you had to have, I kept the tournament in beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and I put them where I thought they needed to be, okay? So I didn't want some kid who was an immediate, really had a chance, was only as good as maybe 3 guys in the intermediate, right? But he could shine out every once in a while and try to jump to advanced and like get beat up. I like to keep the competition within their arenas. And the beginners, their competition was just to throw like to the goal. So I spent most of my time with beginners, right? Who were the youngest kids, and I mean they're the funnest anyways. All right, the other ones start growing up and want to be adults. I just like the little kid stand behind the president the other day while the little girl was getting her the signature. She was all like, ah! With the pigtails, like, ah! And there's this little boy in the background. Did I get that right? White House photographer. Did I get this right? Hold on, wait. Crack up. He was like this. I can't do it now. You keep cracking me up. But anyway, so we, what I went to go by this gas station, and they had these long tube things, and this back in the '90s, and it was like a gas station on outside DC, and it was run by some shall we say Asian people of different, whatever, it doesn't matter. But anyways, they brought all this stuff in, all these toys, all this. I mean, you walk in the place and it's like, look at all the cars, right? And they had these tube things. When you picked it up, it would go, and then when you turned it the other way, it would go, right? So I got one of those for every one of the kids, right? And then I got prizes for all that, right? And so finally, we met every Friday for like 2.5 months, or 2 months, and then it was time to have our first tournament. Then we went down to North Calgary. Now, here's the cool part, right? So, it was $10 per kid, and to enter the tournament. I figured it wasn't really a way for me to make money. It was a way for me to pay for all the prizes and all the stuff I was going to do anyways, because I knew I'd just blow it on them, right? And they got a bus to drive all the kids down there. I was like, no way, that's great. And Takoma Park Recreation Department, they paid for all that, right? The money came out of somewhere. I don't know where it came from, right? But somebody or something, or the city of Takoma Park, Maryland, or the Recreation Department kicked the bill for all this, right? And it was better without all the children riding the bus. It's a smart thing, right? Because my truck broke down on the way with me and my little brother. I made it there, right? And then my brakes seized. And then I'm like, okay, kids, let's play, right? So what? My truck broke. I'll just leave it here, right? You gotta do what you gotta do. And so, yeah. So, we play in the park, and that finally, during the tournament, that one little white boy over here on this side, the sister got it first. She learned her thing, and she could get out there and do her thing. And she still whipped it like that, but she could get it to go flat, right? And she was all hipping it. She was like, pew, and it would go, pew. But she had her thing down. She could do it every time. So I'm like, okay, she got her control point. As soon as you get a control point and you can throw a frisbee flat, then you can make it go left. You can make it go right, make it go left. You guys are the opposites. Well, anyways, so the other kid, I'm like, finally at hole 7, homie goes, snap. The homie said, snap. He put a little bit of leg in it, right like that. The little homie did it. Little homie did it. Little homie did it. I was running all over the field, right? Yeah. Now I could go check on some of the other kids, because I'd spent up the whole 7 with him, right? So, I spent a lot of time running around. Good thing I can jog, right? So anyways. So, we have our winners in each and every category, right? And I do my announcements. And what I did was gave really nice frisbees, and, according to the level they were at. Like, the advanced got some real high-end, not high-end, but harder to control beveled edge frisbees. I invented my very first beveled edge frisbee on a piece of paper when I was 13 years old in 1981, right? Or 82. I was 14. Well, the first beveled edge frisbee came out when I was 15. It was the Arrow. Well, anyways, and then the middle kids, I gave them sharks, and there's first and second and third prize, and they would get like a toy or something like that, or a regular old frisbee or something, or one of the ones out of my thing, right? Because I had a whole bunch of rocks and stuff like that, and a frisbee, toy's a toy to a kid, and if they won something, right? So and they all got one of these. So I had to ride back home. I had to ride back because my truck was broken, right? And whew. So we're all sitting in the bus, right? And I got a bus full of kids. And the driver, that means we can make as much noise as possible and have fun. Guaranteed. Again, it's kind of like when the Hulk said, "You want me in an enclosed structure deep underground?" And then he's like, "Oh, in the air, even better." That's the Thor effect with children, right? You put me in a confined space with a bunch of children, havoc. But I can get them all to calm down in like seconds. If you guys see my video, I got that gift. It's, you know, it's not me all the time. It's often him, because he you know, if you read my stuff, you'll be like, man, this kid got blah. So we all take the things, and I'm like, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now the object, because we tried this like twice and they hadn't got it, right? Was everybody had to be real quiet. That takes 2 times. And they have to be in synchronous. What isn't that hard once you get them to be quiet? Because then you can say 1, 2, 3, everybody turn your tubes over. And they all turned their tubes over. And you heard like 35 of these things all go at once from like every corner of the bus. We all started cracking up and laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing. And yeah, man, that was so much fun. So yeah, you know, I was talking about doing it here for Walamale, starting a junior disc golf team for the kids here in Springfield and Eugene, just because it'd be the right thing to do. But we'll see how that works out, one step at a time, one project at a time. This project right here is my biggest project. You know what I mean? And this. If you feel me, peace out. Joy and grace, happy Easter. Bye.